Welcome to KYNDversation, a space for sacred dialogue, honest reflection, and deep listening. I'm your host, Reverend Kendra Frazier. Conversations was born from my own inner dialogue, my journey of spirituality through life's unfoldings, questions, and becoming. Along the way, I discovered something that is critical and essential, that transformation often happens not in isolation, but in conversation. In this podcast, I sit with people from diverse faith traditions, spiritual paths, and lived experiences to explore one central question. What does devotion mean to you, and how does your relationship to the sacred shape your life? My hope is that each conversation becomes a light post for those who feel challenged, disconnected, or are searching for belonging, and that through our shared reflections, you might find courage, clarity, and a deeper connection to yourself. Because wherever you are on the journey, you are welcome here. I have a wonderful guest today. She is my teacher, and I'm so honored to have her. Her name is Iyalode Yeyefini Efunbolade. Iyalode means Queen Mother. She is a charismatic woman who has brought joy and meaning to the lives of thousands of people. Efunbolade is a spiritual coach, priestess, cultural consultant, author, lecturer, and president of yeyefini.com/Balance Living Inc. She was ordained as a Yoruba Ifa priestess in 1971. She teaches and performs rituals and ceremonies in the West African tradition, as well as organizes and hosts spiritual retreats and pilgrimages throughout the United States, the Caribbean, and the world through the International Institute of African Studies and Knowledge, which she founded. Give a warm welcome to Yeyefini Efunbolade. Welcome, Iyalode.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for having me, inviting me here to be with you and to with your students, your audience, your loved ones. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for your yes. It's good to have you. How are you arriving today? How are you feeling?
Well, I am well. That's my centering now, that this is really how I feel. I am well. I am whole. I am complete. I am divine, and I am divinely guided.
Ooh, well, whole, complete, divine, and divinely guided. I like that. So I want to jump right in. You have lived a very long life and will continue to live it. When you think about your spiritual life, Iyalode, what are some of your earliest memories of sensing the sacred, this presence, before you may have even had language for it?
For me, it was as a child when I didn't know I would call it the sacred. I just knew that's who I was, and I thought most people did that. I had a gift. Now that I look back as an adult, my gift was I would be thinking about someone, and I would say to my mom, I would start talking about Miss So and so. And back there in Panama, we didn't have telephones in our community, and cell phones. The people would just pop up within 2 days, and I would be like, okay. And I just took it as that's the way life was, that people were all doing that. That was my first connection. Then the next connection, I think, was feeling the Spirit of God when I was at a worship service that what in Panama is called Bejinite, and is a combination of African, Caribbean way of honoring the ancestors. And they would have a big table. It's called, a big table of feast. And when they started singing and chanting, I would just feel like my body was just so light and expanded, and I would forget about the trauma and the things that I was going through, because my mother was not there with us anymore. She had moved to the United States. And so I was there. So that was my second. And the third time was when I felt at the World's Fair, there was some African dance and drummers, and they started drumming, and I couldn't stop shaking. And the person that was the lead drummer came over and he said, "You're feeling the spirit of your ancestors." So for me, it was just like step by step ways of awakening that no one gave it to to me or told it to me. I just felt it and it just came upon me.
Wow. So we have just your own sensing, your own knowingness at an early age.
Yeah.
Music as transcendent, and then someone telling you that your ancestors are calling you. It's a beautiful beginning. When you name the ancestors, Yeye, why do you feel like the ancestors are so important, particularly at this time that we're in now?
Well, when I was told that it was the spirit of my ancestors, I just started then finding anything that had to do with Africa and ancestors. So I used to go to the Schomburg, it was called in the Schomburg Library, and in Harlem, and I would go there and find books and talk
Mm,
about God and the ancestors and the importance of doing things for our ancestors. And then I came to America in the 60s when the Black Power movement and was in full bloom, and the song "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud." And coming from Panama, they was not proud to be Black because that's a Latino culture. And if you were dark and you spoke English, or if you were raised with people who spoke English, you weren't part of the conversation. And so to come here to know I'm Black and I'm proud, and then to studying about Africa and to learning about the ancestors and the importance of us connecting to the ancestors, that's what made me know we count, we matter. I'm from Africa, because in Panama you call a chombo, which is a black, the
mm,
word that we use here is an N, and it, that you have no value, no worth. So to come to America and you know that you are Black and you count, and we would hear lectures and people talking about the ancestors and the importance of it, and going up to Harlem and seeing rituals and getting in touch with priests and priestesses. For
wow.
me, that was like, okay, so dead people are not dead people. My great
Mm,
grandma, great great grandparents, they value, they're in my skin.
mm,
I was in for that. So for me, ancestry is not a worship, is an honoring of all that they did to help me to get here. And as I progressed and I got old and I started studying sociology and yoga,
mm,
so um, all types of revolutionary books, like
mm.
this, the Spook Who Sat by the Door. Those are the books that those were the things that raised me. And listening to Malcolm and to listening to the things that made sense, I was like, I'm okay. So ancestors for me is honoring those who, through their prayers and struggles and glory, created me. And when I started studying about ancient Kemetic culture,
Mm.
I
Come
was
on.
like, anybody else that's not descended from that,
Yeah.
you're not the original. And so that gave
Right.
me power and the strength and the confidence to know that wherever I walk, I have a team of
Mm.
ancestors that want the best for me. Because if we could have created the biggest soul library as the pyramids, to create a place where thousands of lies, civilizations could go back and say you created nothing, and we can look at the wall and say, wait a minute, these people are speaking what? Yeah, I'm good. So for me, that's ancestry, is that you come from a group, a nation, a concept, that life is nature and you are nature, and everything that you do is
Mm.
connected to those spirits that made sure that you came here, the spirits that made sure that I was born in Panama, that I'm bilingual, the spirits that came here that helped me, that when I came here and I couldn't speak, I couldn't read or write English, it made a place to me, a place where it wasn't important to identify with the Spanish, the Latino. I went back to the original source of Black.
Mm.
I'm good. I'm good. That's
Mm.
why I say I am well, I am whole, I am complete, and I am divine, baby.
Come on. I love that you mentioned that dead people are not dead. I remember in 2014, out of a sleep, I was awakened, and spirit was just like build an altar. I had no idea that generally in Yoruba tradition you would build an altar for your ancestors before any of the Orisha. And so it's my practice has expanded over the years, and particularly with being connected to you as my teacher, there's a demonization often, particularly in Christian traditionalism, of our ancestors. Can you explain a bit more why we honor them, and because they are dead, people that are not dead, um, how they work in our lives for people that don't understand it?
You know, the ancestors, and nobody went to the ancestral world and sent me a memo. It's just common sense. When you have a baby and the baby looks like a relative that's passed, acts like a that never knew, that you never, that person never met, that you got to believe in something. And so the demonization of ancestral celebration is by dominant cultures who think they're dominant, cultures that think that when we are people who connect to nature and who are soft and who connect to everything that it flows, because in our worship and our honoring and our celebration, there's always music, there's always a lightness, there's always an upliftment, a laughter, a joy. Is not it's always up and happy. And so when you have the dominant culture who is patronistic, is male dominant, then the honoring of ancestors become demonized, because if you connect to the power of your ancestors, then you will not fall for the okie doke of believing that God is only seen in a male form and in one only form. So it's a tool now. Ignorance is the unfortunate victim of us believing that is demonized, because all around us we see ancestors. Even on our money, that is ancestral on this celebration, where they have is to for you to never forget who is the founding of this colony of this nation. It was by ancestors, and the money shows you. Don't forget that this is who your foundation is. There are shrines all over. There are shrines all over the nation's capital to remind us this is the main shrine. This is the living shrine of America. And wherever you go, and you have that in Europe, is the same thing. You have the cathedrals to remind you that this is where and who you come from. And so for African people to say, we don't come from that. We come from something that connects us to all that we know, that we are the first philosophers, the first scientists, the first writers, the one who invented paper. You would have to colonize those people and demonize their honoring of themselves, so that you can bring a patriarchal system that make them feel that they're never good enough. That's what I feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. This system wants us to not feel good enough. It doesn't want us to know that we are divine and whole, like complete and lacking nothing. Thank you.
If you're in a system that spend that much time making you feel small, there's a problem with the ones who want to feel big. That's common sense.
Absolutely.
That's control of your mind, control of your spirit. But the spirit of the universe is so kind. God, in whatever form you call it, the Christ consciousness, the one, the supreme, Oludumare, the big kahuna, the big one, the one that gives us sunshine, is so loving and so giving that no matter who and what the process is to demonize or to make you feel like you're not enough, every day you wake up and you can see we're not only enough, we are the originators. Everything that we know, every evolutionary thing that we go into, we supersede every other, because we are the original. God is so loving that it creates us as all original. Every human being, every society, every culture, every race is the original of that particular existence. And so we always have to connect to know that we are the original keepers of our secrets, keepers of our wishes, keepers of our way. And knowing that we are, then all we have to do is just look around and see how can we honor God. Sing, anoint with oil, call out, follow your dreams. That's the way that African understanding is. So you can't tell someone that the dream you had last night. In the Bible, it tells you that there were people who were experts at translating dreams. And then you're going to say that if you do dreams, and if you wake up and say, we had a dream that says that we should not go to war, that we should go to war? Baby. It's in the Quran as well. So any book that's male dominated and gives you a dogma that says there's only through this way you can find peace, then we have a problem with that. Because if you're at peace with yourself, sitting at the banks of a river, eating a mango, talking to your lover, and you feel that God is present, I don't need a book. We don't need a book to convince us that that's fake, that that's not right, that is something demonic. The moment you feel God, that you feel well, you feel whole, you feel perfect, you feel divine, God is present. God is present.
God is present. What you're naming just brings it full circle for me in terms of having that lifeline, because it is a lifeline. And we've talked about this off camera, and you teach this, but particularly at this season of human evolution, there are folks that need to tap in because of where we are in today's world. So we can maintain peace, which is so important. When you think about your journey and we both grew up Church of God. You grew up Church of God in Panama. I grew up Church of God here in the States. How did you make that transition? Yeah, because there are going to be people listening who might identify with another religion. They've been curious about Ifa or Yoruba tradition, but they know the journey is going to be difficult. Has the journey been difficult for you?
Well, you said difficult. Well, stating that, for what I know and what I really believe is that energy is everything that you speak and everything you say. So if you say it's going to be difficult, it will be difficult. If you're saying that it is simple and it's easy, because for you to just say, God help me in this moment, and God comes, that's simple.
Yeah.
That's simple. So to disagree with you in that moment, and just a word that is not difficult. What we have to know is that, as I said, we are divine. We are divine. The Spirit of God lives inside of each and every one of us. We don't have to have a group of people that says, okay, you're going to now be the new Dalai Lama, or you're going to be the new Pope. You are all of that and more. So we all have a prescription to be divine. We all have a prescription to be powerful and to be great. I think what's happening now is that sometimes we forget that God lives inside of us.
Yes.
And when you pray and you speaking words that come out of you and you're putting it on people, those words are in your voice, isn't it? Not? There's not a word that says, I am here. No, you hear yourself in that moment, that you have the power to connect to the divine. And the thing that I think is happening for anyone that is interested in moving and having the courage and determination is to commit to the fact that you are a child of God. You are a perfection of God. You are an example of everything that God is, which is God is love. You have the opportunity to love everything that is happening in your life, but most of all, love yourself enough to say, I deserve to have a feeling of that I am not bad, that I'm not guilty of any choice that I make that does not hurt anyone. Because the choices that I make are divine. They are coming from my inside. If you pray and ask God to send me some way of understanding what's going on in my life, it comes. What I ask for you to pray is discernment. That's what it is. Ask for discernment. Then it will not be hard. It will be easy, because when you ask God, send someone to help me understand what's going on to me. Why am I questioning this? I'm told we should not question, that we should just go ahead. And you've seen in past things that you disobeyed the honoring of the God inside of you, and differently you saw that the God in you dishonored and you disconnected yourself, and then you went out and said, I knew what to do, but I was listening to other people telling me that it was wrong. So if you're moving in a way that you're questioning, continue to question. Continue to guide yourself. Ask your head, who is your best friend. Your head is the only vessel on your body that you cannot live without. You can live without a heart, they can bring you somebody else's heart. You can live without a kidney, they can give you another kidney. You can't removing a head and put it on your head. So your head is your best friend. Your head knows you. Your ori knows everything you've done, what you have done, the secrets that you hold, the things you've never told anybody about, the good, bad, or different of yourself. Talk to your head. Say, my dear head, I give thanks to you for being in my life, that I know that you are my first expression of God. The things that I think will manifest, the things that I speak out of my mouth that are part of my body, that are part of my head will manifest. I thank you, God, for that. And so today I am using my words that comes from the oxygen that you have given to me that I can breathe in this moment. I am asking you to send a vision, a situation, a person, an animal, a plant, a voice, a song that will remind me that I am not alone and that I am divine. And I pray for discernment. And you just sit there, however long you want. And if you listen to what I just said, the presence of God is there. You ask discernment so that when you open your eyes or when you move from that position where you were, something is going to call your attention. A song will come up. You know, Michael Jackson would say, "Do the right thing" or "Do it," or someone could say,
Yeah.
like, that's discernment. That's the connection that you have with God. So it doesn't matter if you have a glass of water or you got a candle or you got you. You got the water inside of you. There's so many parts of us that are water. And out
Talk about it.
the genius of God is that God is so unique that it created us with salt water and fresh water. We have the ocean in us and we have the river in us. We have saliva that is not salty. The genius of God to create that water can know exactly how to flow in us. That is a and then to have the blood that is salty. Baby, God is divine. You got your own river. You got your own sea. You don't have to go sit nowhere and pay no libation and say that you're going to be Yoruba, whatever. You just sit with yourself. The God consciousness of you is say, I call up of the water that's inside of me. Some people call her Oshun. Some call her the Nile River. Some people call her the Jordan River. Baby, if it's sweet,
yeah,
baby. So it's not about pouring no libation and feeling bad because somebody told you you ain't supposed to do that and they're trying to dominate you. Baby, you got God. And the one thing that keeps you centered on the fact that you are God is that there is a divine illumination of God called the sun. All of the moon shines every day. Somewhere is shining. It may not be on your backyard. That's what the reggae singer says, you know?
Yeah.
Bob Marley says, you know, the rain on fire shine on your backyard. All it shines everywhere. So somewhere God is doing his magnificence. And yours is not here. Just wait a minute. The sun gonna shine on you too.
That's it. You got me excited, Iyalode.
Well, you don't need no water and no belonging, and I am this cult. I belong to this Elay or this group. Baby, you got
that's it.
And all shrines and altars are supposed to do is remind you. When you pass by George Washington, okay, I remember you were great. When you walk at a cathedral, okay, I'm over there. When you walk with yourself, baby.
Yes.
When you self-care and take care of all of that, you remind yourself, I got my own shrine. It's me. And the Son of God, the Son, not the S-O-N, but the S-U-N, the Son, God gives us. That is the one thing that all of us, every species rely on it. Every animal, every plant, every human rely on the sun. That is God. And when you wake up in the morning, the first thing to thank is God in its magnificence, as is ever present, omniscient, omnipresence, that gives you that radiation for you to know that you are alive and you are breathing. You're okay. You're well, you're whole, and you're complete, and you're divine.
Yeah. I love that concept that altars are reminders. They invite us into memories of who we are. I remember my own experience of just understanding that my own unfolding was not centered around anybody else but me and my connection to God. And even though my parents didn't understand it, that was okay. It is okay because I'm following the God of my own understanding, the God that lives within me. Because as your book is titled, I am the living shrine. That's it. That's it. And you have to trust what God has given you. Talk to me about your book, Yeye. What inspired you to write this book, The Living Shrine?
Okay. The book, it took me 17 years of writing because it was a book that it was my autobiography. I didn't know it was that. I just wanted to write things about myself and help people to know that you can be a Latina born in a culture where nothing around you looks like success, that everybody around you is Spanish or Latino. You're encouraged to change your name from a Caribbean, from an African descended culture in the Caribbean's name that is English to something Spanish because the dominant culture. You can be born in a place where nothing that you see around you reminds you of power. But the thing that reminds you of power is that all the people in your neighborhood looked alike, that they supported you in everything that you wanted. They say, you can do this, you can do that. To come from that just your homies, your mother's friends, they were upholding you. If you can come from that, you can come from a culture that you speak in Spanish, and when you come here, people are talking mess about you. And because you're Black, they don't know that you understand, and you have the wisdom to just sit and listen to them. And when you're finished, he says, and then you answer them in Spanish. When you can come from that, and when you find yourself in a place where you feel the Spirit of God moving inside of you, and then you move to the point where you get married in an institution that says that marriage is what we need, and that I need to get married within 21 days, and I sacrifice my body to this culture because I believe that African understanding and different African genius is what had brought me to where I was. And I married a man that I did not even know, but because it is said that it would be a good thing to do that and then to unfold and to have children and to help to build the first African village outside of Africa. When you look at the sacrifices and the things that you've done, the things that you've went through, that you've gone through, the experiences that you've gone through to uphold you, where in all of the ups and downs, you've always found people to help you. And once you say, I am grateful, somebody always showed up. I think that book was my way of saying, to be that little girl all the way in Panama, who from your birth was not a positive thing. And when you read the book, you'll see what happened with my father and my mother at my birth. And so to get from that to be the Iyalode of the United States, and I just say that very lightly, is that Queen Mother was the title that was given to me, not to the present only, but the only before that.
Wow.
I went prostrate, and he said, stand up, you're the Iyalode of the United States. I said, what? I know what Iyalode meant. I said, I'm just here to bring my students. It's to show what's. So for me to be that person that when you Google the name Yeyefini, you're like, oh my God, this person is bigger than life. No, baby, this girl came from struggle. It came from survival. It came from techniques. It came from glory of God to bring me from that, to bring my mother to the United States, send for us, me go to college, me getting involved with Pan-Africanism, me finding out that everything that I do is tied to our ancestors. I said, I'm in. I'll marry the man. I'm in. If this makes me a better African, I'll marry the man. I have these children. They got what I went to the extreme. We have tribal marks in our face to prove that we African. Wow. Baby, somebody needed to hear that story. And so it ended up the unfolding of my life, so that every woman and every man that ever feels that you're not enough as an African, as a European, from anybody of any walk of life, that anything that you go through is only uniquely yours and you deserve to only have it for yourself, that's not right. Yes. The way we honor God is when we find every day a way of sharing what it is that you are doing, because if you're the light of God, if you're divine, somebody's out there, you are going to be that person's inspiration and aspiration. And so it's my duty, it is my duty to share my life in all of the ups and downs in my life with anybody, any man, woman, Black, white, any other race that needs to know today I can do what Yeyefini did when that man gun to her head. I can do this. If that's all it serves, it was worth the 17 years of writing it. Because
Ashe.
every time I thought I was finished, something else happened in my life. When I thought the orishas were in the stones, with
Mm,
everything I had, if anything happened to these stones, these things that are physical, I would just die.
mm.
Obatala fix it, and somebody took my shrines. And Obatala said, now deal with that, sister. Where is
Wow.
God? Where
Mm,
is God in all of that's what I'm saying. That
wow.
God lives inside of us. Anything you go back, and Obatala took that shrine because he says, I need to let you know, my dear, the
Mm,
ceremonies rituals that were done in your head to activate that, it's so activated, baby. So get out there and activate other people. That's what I continue to do, is initiate people to this faith, teach them, and if they come, get what they need and they move on, I am good. I live
mm,
from gratitude, because without what I went through, I would not be able to be in a frame of mind. I don't smoke no weed. I don't drink no liquor. I don't do none of that stuff when I am in the state of putting, of awakening the God source, the connection that we have to God in someone. I am in a holy state. Before, I don't drink or smoke. After, I don't smoke. I don't do that at all. Since I was
mhm,
23 years old, 25 years old, I stopped doing all of the things that would disconnect me from the divine. And so when I am prepared to initiate and to create a space for people to trust me, that what I'm, the prayers I'm saying over them, and the pot and the shrines that I'm putting on their head, is letting them know that this is a representation of God. And if this pot ever leaves, like you got what I put in there through the
Ashe.
ancestors that put it in me in my initiation, you got this.
Mm, Ashe.
That's why that book was written. I've never explained it like this. So thank you for the opportunity to feel that connection to God in this moment. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Oh, wow. I just want to sit in that wisdom you just offered us. Wow. The process of becoming the living shrine. It's filled with twists, turns, mountaintops, and valleys, doubts, and
And
um,
laughters
come on now. Yeah.
and hallelujahs.
Yes. Yes. You mentioned something, yeah, which is something that we've talked about before. The daily devotions in the tradition, these spiritual practices that support us in having good spiritual hygiene. I know that I've been someone, as I've journeyed through learning more about the tradition, like this thing requires work. It is not about rubbing some pots and waving a magic wand and getting what you want. This thing is about practice. Can you talk about why the work is so important, why spiritual hygiene is important, why our daily devotions, the things that we do as folks in the Europe of tradition are meant to support us in aligning with our highest good and our destiny.
As you said, it's not something that you just run a rub a little pot or you do this. It is about you having the discipline to stay true to yourself. To yourself. If you want pretty skin, you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to lotion it, because you have to put a barrier between what you're going into and where you're coming from. If you want anything, you have to shine it. If you want to be healthy, you have to wash your dishes. You can't continue to eat on the same dirty dishes because they're a dish. You have to wash them. So that's the same thing that we look at your face. That's what we got to do with our divine self. Is we
Yeah.
got to wash our dishes. We got to wash ourselves, and so you got to have the discipline to know that if my dishes are washed, that means that I'm preparing for the next stage, which is to eat again.
Yeah.
And so in anything that you're doing, you have to have discipline. If you want to be, healthy, and you want to do exercise, you don't do it once for the year or once for the month and you says, okay, I did some exercise, so now I'm good. No, the body needs you to do that to create the new cells,
Hmm.
and to generate the energy that you need to get up and do what it is that you need to do. So the discipline that is required is to be consistent and honest with yourself. And if you honor God inside of you and not outside and get distracted, then you will know that. And so when you're living in a culture where every day the divine is you have a baby naming ceremony, and the baby just born, and you give a reading, and the baby is said, this child came to the community to be the first physicist that's going to create something that is known and is necessary in all of the things that Black people, that our ancestors have created, even any race of people that created the thing that we're talking on right now.
Yeah.
That is given to us because we are part of the God's plan of evolution. So when you are in a place of devotion, you are connecting to something that you don't have to report to anybody that you're doing. You don't have to say, okay, I did 3 Hail Marys. Oh God, I gave tithing. Oh, I got, no, you got to be one up with yourself. And that's what makes it difficult, because you can bullshit. I mean, you can cut yourself off, and serve yourself some stuff that ain't true, and say, "Oh, I did it already. Oh, I'm good. Look at me. I can judge somebody else and how good they are and what kind of they don't. I know they don't know God because they're wearing this or they have on this. I know they don't. And when you get to the point where you become God and passing judgment on other folk, be very careful. Be very mindful that you're talking to the spirit that saw you yesterday."
Hello.
And that story that you can't in here that you don't want nobody to know.
Yeah.
So when you're connecting that devotion of self-care, you're washing your dishes, baby.
I'm taking that with me. Ooh, that's good. That's a good analogy.
You keeping your spirit, you keeping your throat clear. So when you speak again, you will be speaking from a place of truth. And not worrying about, was you in church Sunday, or was you in the mosque, or how many times did you bend, baby? This and this. That's why every ritual that we do, we touch the chest and we touch the head.
Mm-hmm.
What I am thinking is aligned with what I know is God.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do this.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are doing that, it's not hard, baby. That stuff is so simple. And that's the thing. We want the supersize and extra fries.
Come on now.
You can't do drive-through salad. You cannot. You can go ahead and eat paper plates and drink at paper towels if you don't want to wash dishes. But what are you doing in terms of the deconsecration of yourself? You know how many trees have to be cut down for a paper plate?
Yeah.
Because you're too trifling to give you a piece of soap and some water to wash your plate. You're trifling.
Call it out. Call it out, Iyalode. My goodness. You are preaching today. You are on fire. Wash your dishes. Wash your dishes, because dishes get dirty.
Because paper towels and paper plates is an illusion of housekeeping. Because something is suffering from it. The chemicals that you're putting in your body from it, the paper that you're cutting down the trees for, the recycling that you're doing of the things that we're recycling, some of the stuff we're recycling, just the recycling process reorganize and regenerates the poisons and a greater level into your body. It takes, I think they said something like 80 years for plastic to decompose. Baby, wash your dishes.
That's it. And I love it, Iyalode, that you reminded us of when we go to spirit and we're touching our head and our heart. From what you've taught me, we also touch our shoulders, because we are responsible for this life that we are living. Daily devotions is about responsibility, and I feel like so many people walk in the world absent of the importance of practice. Even those that are connected to various faiths. Reading the Bible, reading your sacred text is simply not enough. You can highlight it all day, but if you don't practice what's in there, that's where the disconnection comes in for me.
And if you're not practicing discernment, if when you finish reading that, you sit still with yourself and say, now I need the discernment of that.
Yeah.
You can read that you hate aunt so-and-so or cousin so-and-so. You can feel it, I mean, and you can read it and it says, forgive your enemies. And I say, yes, and I have it, forgive my enemies, but I can't stand her.
Whew.
Hypocrisy.
Yes. Yes.
That's hypocrisy. So you can read from now to next Friday, but if you're not practicing it, what you just read, if you read and you can't stand Uncle so and so, whoever, and when you read that, you ask for discernment. Let me see how I can apply it. Not to them, because they over there. How can I apply it to that thing that I hate that I have for her or for him?
Uh,
Instead, how can I practice it? Lord, do you want when I get off this phone to call her and say, I am so sorry, I have missed you? Do that. So it's not hard.
mm-hmm.
You just take off the phone and says, just as God did, forgive my enemies. You are not my enemy. I am just not understanding that you represent God trying to remind me that I need to be forgiven. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm so sorry for any pain I've caused you. And that's applying the Bible. That's application. That's application, not supplication. Oh, I've done mine. Yes, and I've done it. Yes, and baby, everybody know you can't stand Sister Mary in the fourth chair.
Whew. You said application, not supplication. Ooh, wee.
Apply the Bible to your life and stop. Get up off your knees, sit somewhere, and hold yourself accountable to the stuff that's going on in your life. And if you know God is inside of you, because that's the beautiful of God. God is so powerful that it tells us, wherever I am, you are. Woo, that's scary.
Mm.
Because some of the stuff we be doing, be like, God ain't here. So really.
Absolutely. One of the things that I really value
That's
about
scary. That's scary. That's scary.
it is scary. It is
I mean, I'm
scary.
brushing my teeth and God is here, and I'm thinking about going and cuss out somebody at the
Mm.
match.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Responsibility.
let me get back because I'm out.
No, this is good. This is exactly where we want to be. This is good. One of the things that I appreciate about the Yoruba tradition is this concept of iwapele, good character and integrity. Why is that important in this tradition?
And it goes back to telling you God is watching you. You're Ori. Every morning you can get up and recite, oh, Ori mio, Ori mo. You can sing it and all that. But if you're not practicing what it is that your best friend is telling you, have good sense. And if your best friend is telling you that you remember the last time that you did this nonsense, it didn't work out. And if your
Mm-hmm.
Ori is reminding you that when you were a child and you were molested, that the situation that happened that you didn't tell and you walked around doing all of that, and today you feel like that. All of that is in you. All of that is inside of you. So
Mm-hmm.
your Ori is telling you in that moment that what you think is who you are. And in that moment, the things that you're doing reflecting your character. Because
Mm-hmm.
good character, you can say you up well and all of and all of that, and good character and patient weed and all of that, but your life is saying something else.
Yeah.
You're this big time priest that's supposed to represent God and all of this other stuff. And and your character is
Mm.
questionable. People in the streets know who you are, what you do.
Mm.
So you can talk about good character if you're not living it. And knowing that we all have done things and will always do things that are irritating to yourself, to God, to people around you. But when you catch yourselves, just stop
Yeah.
and do better. And I think that the biggest thing with character is that we got to give ourselves some grace.
Mm-hmm.
Give ourselves
Mm-hmm.
some grace. Who I was 10 years ago, I'm not that person. Who I was 40 years ago, I'm not that person. Who I was yesterday, I'm not that person. But the minute I stop and I recognize what I did yesterday was not correct, then today, that's it. You just wake up in the morning and say, today I am peace. And today I am love. So everything that you do from this moment going on, guess what? It's newness. It's a new year. Give yourself some grace. All your stuff that you thought and you did and in the past, baby, that don't count. All that does is that gives you karmic debt that you're paying off. Because who knows some of the crazy stuff that you did? You're freeing yourself of some stuff that you did. And the stuff that you don't have, and you're comparing yourself because other people have more than you. How you know that you're not relieving yourself of the next karma? And when you come back, you just fly. You just sit down and get everything you want. You got a direct connection to God. That anything you just think of, it shows up, baby. For that, you give yourself some grace. And the character is stop whatever you, what is it? They used to say, stop, drop, and roll.
When there's
in school, we used to have to do that practice. In the 60s, we had hurricane because, we thought the Russians were coming. You had to stop, drop, and roll. And so you just stop in the moment, drop to your knees and says, help me, and roll over to be another person.
Come on. We all are invited to roll. Roll each day, because each day is a new day to realize.
The sun, all of the planets up. Ain't that what the planets doing? They drop.
Come on now. Talk about it.
We may be in the sun's manifestation that we call Taurus. Oh, yeah. And the next manifestation, the next rotation is another vibration. And sometimes we don't want to even talk about astrology because we feel it's things of the world. No, even in the Bible, people saw the sun and they read signs. And so now you call it what it means. If you need to call it an African name, we have those African names. The Kemetic have ways of calling what you call Uranus. Yoruba, the Kemetic, we have names that you call Uranus because the people who are writing it they're speaking in that language. Uranus. But to me, Uranus is Aganju. Our ancestors were so powerful. So when you talk about a planet like Mercury, you don't talk about that because it's devil. Mercury is one of the planets, is one of the stars that rotate in the heavens, and it's from study we recognize that Mercury's energy is something that moves a certain way, and we call that a shu. We call that Elegba. And in Kemetic, we call it Sebek. So when you know that you can call it anything you want, just like you can call Isis, and you think of this European name of Isis, of this white picture of this, and then you think of Yemonja, you think of this woman herself. And when you talk of Aset, you think of all of them. So it's the same thing. The moon influences the moon. Mercury influences Eshu. Uranus influences, or we are influenced by that energy that we call Aganju. Shango, right? All of the planets, we know it in Yoruba for those who do esoteric study. When I look at my astrology chart and I do my astrology and I look in there to check in, it's just like, okay, so this is the planet that's motivating me today. I don't look at it as a planet outside. I look as an Orisha inside. That's why the priests that I train in the Institute, all of them, that's one of the first things that you have to do. The first class that you get is to know your birth chart. Where's your sun? What's your rising? What's your ascendant? Where's your moon? And baby, over the years from thy teachers teaching me, and I'm passing on, it never fails. When we initiate and you get your Ita, which is a scroll of your life, that these stones, when we do the manipulation, and that tells you that this is what your possibility of success or failure in your life is based on these different times or cycles of your life. Baby, trust me, every student, they take their Ita and they take the the astrological chart that they get and put it together, and it's perfect.
Wow.
It has never failed. I've been
Wow.
doing this for 54 years. It has never failed. So the first class that my students get is, you got to go know you.
Mm-hmm.
This Ita that we gave you and told you that Shango is going to come into your life and make you this queen and all of that. You ain't no queen right now. Girl, you in college. You trying to get through your last class. What? Queen of who?
Whew.
Just work on Shango give you enough that it's already there waiting for you. And they tell you always work with Obatala. It means be patient because you're going to be all of that. Just wait because you're going to be shining like the king or the queen. Work with Obatala because Obatala know you got to finish first, girl, first grade. You got to finish high school. You got to finish your undergraduate. You got to do all of that. And then when you get to that, then you become this thing that's, oh my God, they said that in my Ita. Look at your chart. Your chart will tell you that at some phase of your evolution, at the age where you are in the place of receiving, it could be like in your 40s, that you become this like, babe, that's the same thing they say and that Ita said. Stop calling it, I got you, call it Uranus. Know the names. And then you can know that anything that you use out here is not to demonize God, is not to take down and to make you feel that you're not good enough. And the system that you have is demonic and it's against the will of God. Baby, the will of God is that you just be a good person and share all of the goodness of God with somebody else. That's the only guarantee that I've learned, is the more you share, the more you have. So if you share a lot of clothes, you'll always have clothes. If you share money, you always have money. If you share friends, you'll always have friends. You learn that in kindergarten. It's not your turn, it's your turn. Right? Learn in kindergarten. It's not your turn.
Yeah. Thank you for naming the guidance that knowing our birth charts and our astrological signs and the order of them and the houses that we function within, because they are often demonized by people who are in very traditional or fundamentalist ways of being. But as I hear you stating now, these are tools to help us. God created all the planets, the stars, the moon, and the sun for us to have tools to be able to live lives that thrive. One of the things that I love about your work, Yeye, is that it's very accessible. It is wonderful that not only do you have the Living Shrine, but you also have the Living Shrine workbook. Talk to me about why you decided to create a workbook.
I didn't decide, the book decided it, because when I was in a place of, oh my God, I'm beating up on myself. I should have written this book. Everybody and their mother have been helping me with this book. It's time for me to read the book, and beating up on myself, feeling like, oh, as a Virgo, my perfection, oh, it should have been done in a certain amount of time. And it wasn't. It was like, really? I went and I got a reading from a woman in Chicago. One of my students sent for me, just wanted me to come to Chicago. I'd never been to Chicago and I loved it. And I said, oh, she says, I know a reader. Well, you know me. I love people to read me. Tell me some more stuff that I can't see. So I go to this woman, never saw the lady. She read me and gave me this. And she said, are you writing a book? I said, oh my God, yes. She said, well, that book, there's a companion to it. And let me tell you, you're not writing a book. The book is writing you. I heard that and I just surrendered myself. Yes. I don't know this woman from nowhere. That's how spirit be working with me. Some spirits that discernment, you, oh, hi. God. And so in that, she says there's a book that has to go with it to teach. I said, like a workbook? She said, like a workbook. The book wasn't even written, well, because the book was writing me. Then she gave me the second one. It says in the Bible that people went to interpret dreams, right? And people will come off of the mountains and have illumination and all of that. What make you think I couldn't go to Chicago and find God to tell me that? That it had to come back in a ray of something holy and a bright light that says, I am, because I am. Because I'm at the pulpit and you're sitting down low. Man.
I'm telling y'all, make sure you go get the Living Shrine book and the Living Shrine workbook. The Living Shrine workbook, both of them. I know people have come to me and named how the workbook has been so helpful for them because it is actually giving you rituals to do, giving you practices to do to support your spiritual hygiene. And I'm so grateful, Iyalode, that you let me be a part of it by editing this workbook that is out now. When it comes to folks who are going to be looking at this, or listening to this, what word of wisdom can you offer them, especially for those who are contending with maybe they just lost their job, maybe they don't no longer have access to the governmental resources that they once did. Maybe their department has been disbanded because DEI is being disrupted around the country. What's a word that you can share with them?
Connect inside. Go within. Go within. Spend some time not connecting to all of the things that says that's going to be cut off for you, or some of the things that have cut off from you. I feel that what's happening right now is an opportunity for us to look inside of us. I mean, you can look at astrology and it will tell you all that this time has always happened every 60 days, every 60 years. We have the same kind of thing. There's certain aspects of Orisha or planets that this was coming, it had to come. Numerology, I've been saying that in my Power of You thing that I do on weekly on the internet. That number one is a cycle that you're entering. You knew graduation was coming, and graduation came last year. So some of the things that you did are done. They're done. You graduated from that. You're in jobs that you didn't like. You're in situations that you can't see your children. You're doing stuff because you're making sacrifices, stuff that you know that how long is it going to be self-sustaining for the next 40 years? Your God inside of you love you so much that is telling you, you graduated, baby. You got a certificate. You got a diploma. So what you going to do with that? Are you going to go work for somebody else, or are you going to come work for yourself? And either way is good. If you're going to work for somebody else, make sure that you're giving to them not what they want, but how much value you're taking to them. Remember your worth. Don't just look for what you need to pay your rent, because you're going to set yourself up for the next 10-year cycle to be somebody's little puppet again. So if you've graduated, you're on an upgrade. You're now on an upgrade. So whatever it is that's happening to you right now, go back to me. The thing that resonates with me as God, even as a child, is my passion. Whatever it is that you like to do, that you could do without getting paid, that's your God gift. That's your passion. And that passion that you have for something, you pray and you go into meditation with yourself, with some discipline. If you say for 7 days, I am going to say this exact word until it means sense to me. I am whole, I am well, I'm complete, I'm divine. And you're in the midst of, you just lost your job and the potential for you don't know where your rent is coming from. If you do that and you say, I'm going to do this for 7 days, or if you say, I'm going to be, radically different, cultural, spiritual, radical, to look at my evolution as a revolution. My evolution, the thing that I'm changing from is my revolution, is my new way of being with myself, is of honoring myself. So wherever you are, you may feel like your light is cutting off or whatever it is that's happening, and it's not, baby. Because even if it does, you are going to be okay. You are going to be okay. Because look back at some of the things that you've been through that were worse than this. So if all we do now in the midst of all of this is that we can start doing a journal, thank you, God, for today. Today I have this. I don't have my light bill. Today I have lights on. Today I have water running. Today I have, if you can have that as your motivation to go back to your passion, it's all there.
Yes.
It's all there. You I have so many stories. I didn't say all of them in my book. There's one story that you can have that you can feel that, oh, this is the worst of everything, and the person ended up homeless. They went to the homeless shelter. She was ashamed and all of this. This is not me, this is the client. Was
Mhm.
ashamed, afraid of everything that was happening, and her world fell apart, and she had to give up getting her nails done and her hair done and her weave done and all of this, and she ended up homeless, and she was just hitting on herself. And I said, just do that. Tell yourself that you are in an evolution of your highest divine self. So you go
Mm.
into a shelter, you're not in the street, you don't nobody beating on you. Somebody will take your children until you figure it out. Do that
Mm.
and give thanks to today. I am safe and I know you're coming up with a plan for me. Do you know that woman ended up not only going to the homeless shelter, meeting someone that was on the same platform with them where they were homeless as well in that moment. They were
Mm.
ready to go the next day for an interview. They had to come wash in the sink and do all of that. They made friends. The woman ended up going, getting
Mhm.
a job, calling this girl, giving her a job, and now they are running a place that are giving food to
Wow.
people who are homeless.
Wow.
This was a woman with three figures and all of that. Today she wakes up feeling, who can I help today?
Mm. Woo.
She got rid of her condo because the children were pumped it up in one, two little rooms. The children are fine. They're in school. She works from home part time, and then 4 days a week she's there giving out food and working at the shelter. Maybe she's created not only a way of life, but her passion is always to give. But she was giving this company all of her soul. Now she wake up and feel how many other people I can do. She's starting a way of encouraging women that if they're going back to get a job, how to dress up. You can go and get recycled clothes at the Goodwill or whatever. This is what you can wear. Don't wear
Mm.
this, baby, because she knew she was one of those people that could tell you what to wear when you go to the interview and all that. Look at the value that woman had.
Yeah. Mm.
And today, baby,
Mm.
that was not because she poured libation or none of that. She just called and I said, look, this is the biggest thing that's happening to you. Get still. This other woman that was here was by coincidence? No, baby. That was by divine design. And now they're very good friends. And they're affecting people. That is divine. So whoever, whatever you're doing, go into yourself and trust that all of this stuff that's happening outside is a stimulation for your regeneration.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's a hashtag.
I like that. A stimulation for your regeneration. Yeah, that is. We hashtagging that. Make sure you hashtag that.
That's
Ooh.
coming through this morning.
Ooh. The
There is
divine downloads been on fire this morning, Iyalode.
baby, and you know what I did that was different because whenever I'm coming to anything, I'm always kind of like nervous because I'm like, oh, I want to be perfect. I want to do what it is that can help the people. I bathe in this soap that's called the ancestor soap.
Mm.
This soap is the first time that I've made this soap. I had been wanting to do an ancestor soap that when we use it, we're connected to the spirit and all that. I've been marinated on it for about a year. And so I said, okay, I'm going to make an ancestor soap. So I started to make the soap. I put the soap base in the thing that I warm it because I don't use microwave. I don't have a microwave in my house because the energies that's coming this day. So that's a little commercial again, anti thing, but we use light. So I put the thing to melt it. And it was like, I guess maybe about 8 o'clock. And I said, yeah, I'll get to it. I was working the formula with me with the herbs and that to go in it. And my head was just like, oh, I ended up going out, doing some other stuff, and I came back. So about 11 o'clock, 11, no, it was 11:30. I was like, oh, but I guess I better go to bed. I'm going downstairs and take the things out of the dry. I said, oh my God, I left the soap base. I go downstairs. Spirit told me what to do. The Spirit of God, and I don't know how Spirit of God walks with you or with me. Could be a dream, could be a feeling, could be you feel woolies,
Yes.
could it be you just turn and you see the thing that has always been there? I made the soap. It was 12 midnight when that came to me. I started making the soap. I prayed. I swear to everything that is holy and sacred to me and my children.
Mm.
When you bathe with the soap, I made the soap and I finished. And Spirit says, this soap has to be with instructions.
Mm.
This morning I took the bath with the soap. When you take the soap, you call your ancestors' names into the soap. I call my mother, my father, their names, my great grandma, my ancestors. Be with me, be a filter, and provide to me everything that everybody will need.
Mm.
When that's what y'all are feeling is my ancestors. And for you to open up, and the first thing you're talking about, what are ancestors? That is African science. Is you take herbs,
Mm.
put it in a place where you can share with others. The magic of God is that you get things, not to say, "Oh, I got this," and when I talk, I can do. No, it is to get others to do the same that I'm doing and always greater than me.
Ashe.
So that's what you're feeling. Because usually I'm not. I'm like, well, where's the paper? Let's get the script so I don't overlook anything.
You on fire.
The
And
ancestors.
you
So it's my honor and my pleasure to share with you not only that soap, but the presence of God. What you're feeling, this electric magnetic energy that you're feeling with me, it's not that and got herself all like she all that. It's because I am sitting with my grandma, my mother, and y'all know my mother because she was a
oh
diva
yeah.
on all the social media. I call Ruby, I call my father, Clyde Brown Roach, I call my ancestors, and that's who y'all are getting. All of their wisdom. It's just that when we do the ritual and we say we thank our head, our hearts, and the responsibility that sit on our shoulders, but the people whose shoulders we are standing on.
Ashe.
That's what we put those things on our shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
The responsibilities that you have that rest on your shoulders is because your ancestors chose you to be the one for those shoulders to bear. Got it?
Got it. Got it.
That's what you're feeling.
Mm.
Is my soul.
Ashe. Thank you for doing the work. If you have tapped into Conversations, you are listening to the one and only Iyalode Yeyefini Efunbolade. Make sure you go check her out at www.yeyefini.org. If you want to find her on social media, it's the same name. You can find her at Yeyefini on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And if you're interested in gaining access to some of her classes, you can find those at www.yeyefini.thinkyfic.com. Thank you so much, Iyalode, for joining me today on Conversations.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. That who knew that as a young girl of 14, one day you would have me speaking like this. That's what I said is divine, divine design. That God would divinely put us together. From 14, Introduction to African Spirituality is the class that I was teaching when you were 14.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know that you are well, you are whole, you are complete, you are
And
divine and doing and being divinely guided. Baby, we good.
we
So
are good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a blessed day.